We
Yeah, we are on. All right, all right. We are here at the Cryptocosm podcast. I know it's been a while, and I've been running around doing all kinds of interesting stuff. But a lot of it's all kind of shenanigans, really. But last couple of weeks, there's way too many events. I know, Vikram, there's been like, one event back to back, another meetup back to back. So Dubai has been quite busy. But anyways, I wanted to bring Vikram into my podcast. I had him last year for the XT Cast, to talk about, DIDs, decentralized identity, what it's all about. So I brought him here to give me a refresher, but also curious to know about what he has been up to with Hypersign ID. So anyways, Vikram, welcome to the Cryptocosm podcast.
Thank you very much, Marcos, for inviting me. It's always pleasure to talk to you.
Awesome, man.
In real or on a call, like
all right. That's cool. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, but please go ahead.
No, I mean, always excited to talk about digital identity and most specifically decentralized identifiers. As I told you, as you know already, that I've been working on this since last 5 years, on and off, from almost a hackathon project to now having a full scale app chain going live very soon. So it has been quite a journey for at least for my team. Working in identity hasn't been very easy, but we are seeing some traction now with businesses adopting dates.
Nice. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You started from the bottom, now you're here, and so it's great. It's great to see that.
Yeah. Yes. Sure.
Sure. Yeah. But anyways, let's. I would love for you to introduce yourself. What is Hypersign all about, and then we can free flow into DIDs and business use cases. Let's help stretch the imagination.
Yeah,
So.
Okay, so hi guys, once again my name is Vikram and I'm one of the co-founder at Hypersign ID project. Hypersign ID in short is an upcoming app chain in Cosmos ecosystem, and if you want to learn a little bit more about app chains, they are like use case specific chain with smaller set of validators. And Hypersign is specific for identity use cases. When I say app chain, it's not just app chain for ID. It's not just a DID infrastructure anymore. It has much more wider use cases, like any sort of identity, Web3 identity related use cases you can build very quickly using Hypersign ID infrastructure. We have SDKs for more decentralized sort of integrations. We have APIs for faster and quicker upgrades or updates in your project. So if you are a project owner and you are thinking about integrating DIDs in your project, I think Hypersign can bring you up to speed within a week's time. So that's a little bit about Hypersign ID and myself, and open for more questions.
Oh, sure. No, sure, absolutely. No. Thank you for giving a kind of like a brief overview of what Hypersign is all about. Because one impression I get is you already been in the space for some time. You already created this kind of like this ID solution, which other companies or maybe other apps could use, right? So instead of other startups, other companies, build from the ground up, hey, you already have a solution. All you got to do is, plug and play. Would that be the kind of like the right way to say it?
Yeah, absolutely. Our focus was so many DID registries are available, so compared to the last call we had together last year, then to now, what changed and how we are now getting traction is basically we went and talked to so many different probable customers or users, and then realized like what is the missing piece in the existing DID infrastructure space. And then we tried to get these features on, and then started building some solutions for them. So so this year our testnet went live with a new interface for faster integrations, like you said, plug and play. It's called Entity Studio. Since we launched it, we have now onboarded 7 plus projects, and like quite big projects who are now using GITs on Hypersign. So definitely bringing out a DID registry which is cross-chain, truly cross-chain, and second is that very easy to integrate. So we just focused on these two aspects, and now we have some traction.
All right. Okay. I'm sure as a startup founder, this is a positive step, a positive direction for greater things to come. So that I'm really glad to hear that. Hear that amazing progress. But I just kind of want to take some few steps back before we get into the nitty gritty of DIDs and why it is so important and how it's going to play a role. Now, I've been talking to a lot of people in the Web3 space, and lately I've been hearing about DIDs or identity, or they call it sovereign identities. So for me, I'm not that familiar, but I know, when I hear other people talk about it, and it's not just regular people, but some interesting people from WEF or maybe some other big projects or maybe some other regulators, they are talking about it. So my spidey senses start like tingle, like, wait a minute, there's something going on. Let's work something out. Let me see what I could find. Just to sort of like dumb things down for me. I'm kind of curious about what is your idea. What does Web3, the term, means to you?
So that's Web3 is a broader term, and mostly like a hyped up word for like it's the most marketed word. But technically, we have to understand how the internet was built, and then from Web 1, Web 2, and now the Web 3, right? Like initially, so long story short, many people know about Web 2, where Web 1 was like you just can read stuff. Web 2 was like you can actually write stuff on internet, right? You can send some data to someone else, or you can add to existing blogs or whatever, add your comments and all these things. But then the Web 3 is about who owns these data. Web 2 was like mostly centric around businesses, like whoever has this website, they are the owner of the data of the website. So even though I am interacting with that website, I am sharing my data to the business owner who probably has this. But technically, it's actually not their data. It's the user's data, because you need to first create a user profile, and then you start interacting with other users on the platform, which means they need to somehow represent you. But what Web 2 model was that the way it was designed, or it is designed, sorry, not was.
That's good.
So how the Web 2 is designed is that the business owner who is running these servers, they own all the users' data. They have the complete control, and user is just giving them access to everything that they are interacting. But since all these websites started becoming the important role in personal life, right? Like you have banking, everything that belongs to you now, it's digital, right? Everything is going digital, and which means they somehow started controlling you as a person. So Web3 is all about how can we, go back to the basics. Like a person is person, and if they say that we control, uh, my data, money, or whatever, we actually truly control it, and not just give access to someone else to manage. Or even if we are giving access to someone else, we should have a complete control of this flow. Right now, it's not happening. Right now, it is like since it goes all the way to the design of the system, right? Like the way the system is designed. Once you have given access to your information to someone, he just has it. He's controlling it. He can do whatever he wants. But what if there could be an interface called Web3, or different technologies together called Web3, and then with the help of these interfaces, you can start having some sort of control of the data that you have previously let it go. So this is what I feel about. It's not just about blockchain. It is not just about certain technology. It's rewriting the whole internet, and when you rewrite internet, it has to come all the way from the regulatory perspective to all the way to the users. So many layers and things. Different layers need to be solved in order to truly become Web3. Blockchain is just one of the technology, and Bitcoin tried to solve it for monetary aspects, right? Like they tried to give a use case where payments, which is now controlled by banks, and which I'm glad they are now. People can see the problem there, and it has become much more much more clearer to people that why Bitcoin is a better store of value than using banks to store your money, keep your money. So Bitcoin was a very good example, and from Bitcoin's learning, people started bringing it to the different layers of internet. Like, for example, Hypersign is thinking around the identity side. There are other projects who are thinking on the storage side. Some projects are thinking in the static storage. Some are working on a dynamic storage. Then the whole cloud itself. Like there is some projects like Akash Network and some more who are working on decentralizing the AI now. So it's like the layers of different layers that we call it as an internet, where we are interacting, and how do we bring control of data in these different layers back to the user. That's, in my opinion, is what that is about.
Interesting. Thank you for giving such a elaborate, like kind of big picture perspective about what Web3 is, and I definitely do agree with you on many fronts. As a marketing person, Web3 is a pretty good catch-all phrase. To be used like on socials, and it also helps kind of like ignite the imagination of the people. Like when it comes to what is Web3 and stuff. And I also personally believe that there's no true definition of Web3. We're still in the process, So I think it's still fair game, open game for people to make an impact and define it, I guess. So we'll see how time. I guess time will tell. So, but it's interesting that you mentioned about reading the data, writing the data. Now you own the data, and I guess when it comes to ownership of data, it always connects to the individual's data, or the individual's identity, or the individual's persona, or many personas. Because I personally believe that, well, I'll use you an example, Vikram. Like, you are not just a developer. You're a multi-dimensional human being. One aspect is you like Vietnamese food. Second aspect is you are an avid music enthusiast. On another front, hey, you know what? Now you are kind of like a blockchain community builder. So the different personas, and that's all something that you kind of own. But I guess in the Web2 space, a lot of that data is sort of like is stuck with all these big firms. So how we use identity, or I guess the Web3 solutions to change the social consensus, right? Instead from a top down approach, here we're having a bottom up approach. So I think that I think that that's something like I see like this is like we're actually changing the social consensus, and and also the roles. Like here, you're bringing the power to the individual, and that individual can, if they want to interact with somebody, they can do it. If they don't want to, they can add privacy. I mean, they can do a lot of things. So it's a I think in one simple sentence, I would say it's bringing power to the individual. Would that kind of resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Individual on internet, like, because in real life you can actually shout out your lungs. Hey, I disagree with this. But on internet, if you're shouting out, there is now it depends on what is the platform that you are communicating through, right? And if
Yeah.
the platform wants to shut you down, they can shut you down. It's similar to how, but my problem is that this platform might not be the so example. I mean, this is a very bad example.
Yeah.
Uh, I say anything against government or which breaks the rule, right?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, if I'm breaking the rule, I technically am breaking the rule, so there will be consequences. But on internet, it's not like that. Even if I'm not breaking the rule, I'm just speaking my thoughts out.
Yeah.
The website that I'm interacting through, which I'm using, for example, this tool, if they don't like us, they can shut us down. We have no
True.
control.
Fair
Absolutely
point.
no control. It's not the same in real world. So Web3 is trying to somehow bridge this gap, especially self-sovereign identity. They are trying to bring, using all these technologies, which is currently upcoming in Web3, like ZK, blockchain, and signatures, digital signatures. How can we club them together to make Web3 more real to the real world? Make internet more real to the real world. There
Okay.
will
So
be
trying to, I guess you're trying to make sense to the real world.
yes,
Okay. Yeah. Because no, it's a good example. Like we see a lot of social media platforms, even also like certain businesses too. Like say like an email responder. Like think of your Mailchimps or your ConvertKit. We talk about crypto. I mean, like I know Mailchimp doesn't allow it. So other businesses, other email responders, they are fine with it. So.
you got it.
Yeah. So so that's where this is where as a regular guy, I'm not a techie, but again I do realize. I know maybe also some other people too. They realize the importance of owning their own data, or to be able to move from one platform to another. Take their data with them. But say for example, like at Mailchimp, I talk about hey, I'm sending a Bitcoin newsletter. Oh, then Mailchimp just shut me down. I have no access to my my newsletters, or like all my content. It's gone. So I guess that I guess maybe not many people realize that, hey, there is another solution out there. There's another option out there. So I think I guess we as an industry need to bring that message to the people out there. Would that be a fair kind of like a fair assessment, or do you have a different take on this?
No, absolutely. If anyone, whether he's an investor or developer or just users in the crypto industry, they are all somehow at some level they are fighting against the whole centralization philosophy, right? And
Yeah.
we all are evangelizing for evangelizing this Web3 to be adopted by mainstream businesses, and at certain level, mainstream businesses have actually started getting in Web3 space due to whatever reason it could be. Whether they see it like a fast monetary gain, it's okay as long as we are making changes in at a core level in the industry. So definitely, I agree with all your points.
Yeah, but I just want to go back. You mentioned about certain mainstream like your businesses. They're coming to Web3. I remember I talked to a friend of mine. Now some of these corporations, now they're getting they started getting into NFTs.
Yeah.
Then they're going into crypto, which is quite interesting. So I think the main reason is there is an economic incentive. So,
which is what like the Bitcoin paper talked about, right? Like, or any white paper. The first thing that everyone asks in a protocol, like they read about the protocol, what is the incentive? I think the incentive, although this term is very vague, and it has many different meaning for each person personally. But what I am saying is that it's okay. Incentive is not just monetary incentive. It can be any sort of incentive. Incentive like something which motivates you to do more, right? Like that's the whole idea. Social incentive, monetary incentive, or whatever different ways. But in crypto world, every project first think about like how I can incentivize my community, right? Like that's the first question everyone asks. Like what is and why this is like the reason being. You just be clear about that. What would be the incentive for someone to get attached to this business model? In case of Web2, this is not clear. I will tell you why. Even if they say like this is the incentive, but technically the actual incentives are much different than what is being shared. Also, there is no transparency in that. Like anytime businesses can change the rule, but in crypto this is not the same, because you can actually read the code, or you can do some sort of audits of their existing implementation, and you will know like, hey, this is the incentive. For example, just take an example of lending platforms like or platforms like Aave, these app DAOs. Now coming up so many different DAOs. So in my opinion, the only thing which attracts people is that, hey, if they are saying like this is what they are going to do, as long as the code remains same and there is no new version of it, this is I am assured that it's never going to change anything in the monetary or non-monetary incentives that I am getting from this. So definitely like incentive is one of the important aspects of, I think, crypto world. And that might newer businesses, because business will start seeing the interest of general community, and they will see like, hey, there is definitely something happening there, so why not we also jump on board, happening in all the forefronts, like technological forefront, trying to bring blockchain as near to what businesses currently have in their infrastructure implementation.
Gotcha,
So it becomes easy for their developers to understand the technology and build fast. So the trust for the businesses have started, coming into crypto or blockchain. And the second part is that definitely now it's a $1 trillion industry, right? Much bigger than $1 at certain point. So it's a fair chunk, and everybody wants the piece of pie. So both.
No, sure. No, definitely a valid point. I think the growth of crypto is not going to stop. But I just wanted to kind of take few steps back. We can talk about the economic incentives, using the blockchain, or using crypto payments, or using Bitcoin or Monero or any of these cryptos. But I wanted to go back to digital identity, sovereign identity, DID. Because I know governments are talking about it. Many of us in the space are. I mean, I remember last year talked about DIDs. So, could you share maybe your insights on what economic incentives are there for individuals or companies to use DID? Like, how's that going to make my life better, whether from a business sense or economic sense, or maybe from a cultural sense too, I guess?
Yeah, so we'll take one by one.
Sure.
Business sense, economic sense, and then the cultural. Probably cultural would be more connected with the users. So business-wise, it's more around data privacy and security, and what is happening, like, you might have seen the breaches. Like, data breaches have been increasing tremendously.
Oh, I think every day there's a breach.
Yeah, there is, and the reason being because of, as I told in my previous answer, like, it's the design of the internet. Currently, the internet is designed in a centralized way that, at a certain time, we were like, hey, this bank became centralized system, and we were happy. Oh yes, it's connected now. So the whole point is, like, there is one store of data storage, and there is somebody who is managing all this storage and trying to keep it secure or whatever. It's now the whole responsibility of everybody's money is just with one entity or one person. That's how the internet is currently designed. And because of this, if the person forgets to lock the door, then people will end up losing their funds because of someone else, because we are trusting on them. It's fine, we are trusting on them because you want to let go of the day-to-day work that is required to keep it safe, and you might not be as a user, you might not be fully equipped to keep it safe. But on the other hand, why trust on only one person? Why not diversify the trust? So that's where the trustless systems comes in. And so business-wise, now the problem is business started becoming powerful because they are controlling a lot of data, and they are becoming trust provider, right? But then what happens is, like, even a smaller mistake can lead to a huge business loss. For example, GDPR compliance have started becoming stringent. Like, if you lose somebody's data, your database is getting hacked, government is going to put you huge amount of fine. Same in India and APAC also, I wasn't seeing much interest towards data privacy. But from last 3 years, because the number of data breaches have increased tremendously, like India ranked 3rd in 2021 across all the data breaches that have ever happened.
Wow. Wow. Okay. There's a lot of scammers in India, man. Like, what's going on, dude? Like,
and not only that, India is still 40% of the Indian population is right now on internet. There is 60% more come to internet, and we are already clocking top 3 in data breach. Imagine what will happen when we have.
Man, I know. That's kind of scary to think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, so the first point, why businesses should adopt something like, DIDs and, redesign their identity system is because of all these data hacks. Like, you have to start thinking about it. There can be multiple ways in the centralized way to do it, but every centralized solution is like, one solution, then there is a house, and then you keep building walls. There will be someone who will break all these walls and get steal.
I guess it's because, again, it's just a matter of time. Like, it depends. Like, if there's so much of money in that house, for example, look, I think the economics make sense to go break into the house.
Yeah.
unless so. Again, same thing with hacking, right? It's all about economic incentives. Whether it's much more economical to go hack a centralized entity than a decentralized one, because that requires so much of energy and time. So people
Yeah.
will be making choices, right?
I give this example. Bitcoin itself, just look at the market cap of Bitcoin. Who runs Bitcoin? Can you tell me one company that runs Bitcoin code? And you are, and we have like now a decent amount of value on Bitcoin, right? So, or same goes for Ethereum or little more
Yeah.
centralized finance smart chain as well. So what I am trying to say is that there are now very good examples of different layer of decentralization of how a business would want to connect to, like maybe not everybody wants super decentralized solutions, but
Sure.
what I'm saying is the blockchain technology can definitely help in reducing the cost of management of data if they are they can start thinking about redesigning the way they have designed their system.
Okay. So
And
so basically, sort of like redesigning the whole security structure of the internet. Yeah.
yes, starting from
Okay.
identity, because identity is the, I told you, lock and key, right? That's
Yeah.
the first layer that you interact with in any system. I told you, you have to first create your account and then you start interacting. When you are creating an account, that itself means that you are trying to represent yourself on this particular platform.
Yeah.
Now, the way the account management is designed is in the centralized way. It's prone to hacks and data losses.
Yeah.
So, and initially it wasn't important because there was this whole collect data and become big. Like there are so many giants now sitting on huge amount of pile of data. So nobody asked questions. But when the hacks started coming in, breaches started now, and people started getting aware that these guys have my own personal data, important
Yeah.
stuff, my life. They are collecting every minute and second. What I am doing. They
Oh,
have,
every click and all. Yeah, they have all that data, right?
and then it's getting hacked. So someone else is getting to know. So then they are not doing their responsibility, right? Like they are supposed
Yeah.
to keep it safe. Then there is a need for redesigning of the system, not just from a monetary aspect, but in general, like for a human being to be free and still be able to.
Yeah.
So, it, uh, coming back to more specifics, like the company, or and not company but an organization. It's a non-profit organization called World Wide Web Consortium. They govern internet. They write. There are folks. Anyone can become part of that, and you can contribute in redesigning the internet, or depends on what is the current situation and how we can make it better, better, better. So they have come up with self-sovereign identity standard, and now it's not anymore in draft. It has been accepted as a standard, and they are suggesting the businesses to move from centralized solutions to adopt self-sovereign identity standard in their implementation, which will help them reduce cost of managing the data, and second, increase security in the cloud, infrastructure.
Oh,
And
okay. All right.
yeah,
Interesting. No, I
but
was going to say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Please, go ahead.
just last point. So for any change to happen, right, there needs to be some sort of enforcement. Only then you see wider adoption. Enforcement in the sense that either there is enough incentive for businesses to change their existing infrastructure into SSI sort of infrastructure, or there is a new law like GDPR, or in India now there is a privacy law, which will enforce them to, hey, you have to start thinking about it. You cannot just keep going the way you have been. So both ways there is incentive for businesses to first to become futuristic solution. Also, like what will, if SSI becomes part of internet, like how we have HTTPS, right? Maybe in future DIDs can become standard on the browser level. So then everybody will be looking for DID registries, and you want to be a business that will start. Then it will become expensive. What I'm trying to say right now, if they adopt
Yeah.
now, it is much more cheaper because all the new systems they can redesign in the thinking from the SSI standpoint. So that's like,
Oh, right.
yeah, aspect very important.
Interesting. No, okay, that's no. Actually, it's interesting to learn about the SSI standards, and there's also this. It's nice to hear there's this drive also to get businesses to think about these data privacy and how to like decentralize and stuff. But I know it's still a long way to go. But I was just thinking about when it comes to like DIDs, like your registries and stuff, because I know a lot of governments are talking about it, a lot of international organizations are talking about it, and the same DID could be used to protect the individual's privacy. But if they want to share certain details, hey, the governments have to ask your permission for it, kind of change the social dynamics.
Yeah, that's like the second point, like 3 questions you asked, right? What is the incentive for businesses, like why businesses, and why users should adopt it?
Okay, yeah.
The social incentive. That's like the main important point of DIDs, like how to bring back control of the data back to the user. DIDs and DID is just one of, it's like the name of the technology, but technically what they are trying to do is, as a user, how you can still interact with internet the way you are doing right now, but you have control of every aspect of your data. Like you provide the access to the businesses. Like what is changing is like currently the cloud belongs to the business that you are interacting with. From there to cloud belonging to you. So imagine that like sort of Google Cloud, but it's not in control of Google, it's control of you, with you. And as long as you have your DID, you can actually move your data cloud from one provider to another provider without any changes, and everything remains same. And the businesses, whenever they want to request these data from the user, they can request it via the user cloud. So, for example, just to give you a specific example, in case of Hypersign, every time if you log into the identity wallet, we create a new database for the user, and this whole database is encrypted, decentralized, and stored in a way that it can be recovered even internet goes off and on, whatever, all these.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thing. But the main difference here is that every user have its own database, not just so like shared hosting and self-hosting.
Right, yeah.
So hosting is like one hosting provider where you just request a small place for
space.
Website, compared to you having your own hosting. So the difference here is that in case of interacting with businesses right now, they have one database, and for you they create one account there. From there to you having your own database, and they provide us just hardware to store it and keep it for you. And you can move this database from one business to another business without any problem, because that's what self-sovereign identity standard makes it easier for the user. So redesigning the internet from the centralized entities, from there to bringing this database access to the user. So every user has its databases,
right,
and the businesses can request data from each of them, rather than business having a database and user requesting data or giving data to some other person from the business. This is the main it has changed.
All right, no, this is good. This is good. No, I like that. Yeah, now I'm kind of having a good big picture perspective. So, I was about to think. I was about to mention to you. I mean, just to go back, just to talk specifically about Hypersign before we go. You have worked with different different businesses. I guess because I want to ask you, what kind of businesses, maybe in your point of view from the Web2 world, would be attracted to digital identity, or
sure. I think the digital identity thing was built first for Web2 world. How to fix the Web2?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But then it started getting adopted by Web3 because Web3 doesn't have identity, and they needed a better design identity system for, in general, Web3, because Web3 has its own philosophy of decentralization, self-sovereignty, and all the yada yada. But that's why DIDs started getting you see a wider adoption of DIDs in Web3. Web3 has its own challenge, like it doesn't have user identity. It just runs on wallets, which is sort of a technical representation of keys, how to manage them. So how do you club all these together and form certain type of identity and try to understand your user, not by taking their personal data, but just understanding their behavior, and how do you aggregate in an easy way, which is also decentralized and not centralized way of aggregating. Otherwise, if you start aggregating in a centralized way, then you are again going back to the same design of Web2. That's why DIDs started coming picture in Web3. Now, in terms of Web2, any business who has currently user account in a centralized way, they can change it to a decentralized system. Some of the use cases I can name it for people to just understand it easily, like healthcare. We have, so many apps where we manage our health information. So imagine that these information are so important for you. It actually tells exactly about what you do and how you are, whether you are healthy or not. And it's not in your control. You are storing it with someone else. What if that system can move to a self-sovereign identity system? Second is your national ID. Like, what if the national ID can be converted into self-sovereign identity standard? In India, there is a new example now that government have taken step towards, not the national ID yet, but there is something called Digi Yatra. So all your tickets, like flight tickets, now you can onboard your flight tickets via Digi Yatra app, and Digi Yatra is complete self-sovereign identities, based system. And whenever you go to airport, if you have a Digi Yatra pass, you get special access. That's where the social incentive is. You're not paying extra. You are able to manage all your data in a all your tickets in a nice application. Plus, you are getting VIP access for airport. Like, you just go there, you scan your QR code, and boom, you don't have to show your face to some 10 people if you have a Digi Yatra app. Because Digi Yatra app already pre-verify you on multiple aspects, like your social ID or your government ID, and then your tickets. Everything is already verified. So you just go QR code, scan, and enter. In India is now that it's moving very fast in terms of technology. So this was a huge success for self-sovereign identity folks, like, government adopting it in their ecosystem. So that's another example. Third one is any sort of digital document. Like, one of the startups in India, they are using Hypersign to build a document signing application. Like, they have business, they are into HR solution, and they had cost of, let's say, around 100,000 contracts to be signed, and we worked with them and helped them reduce the cost substantially, almost like 40% to 50% lower, using DIDs rather than going with the centralized provider.
Interesting. Yeah. I got to ask you this, because you talked about, like, getting these Web2 companies who have all these custom accounts. They would be the right, I guess, clients or audience to get into the DID space. But is there some sort of like the transition? Is it pretty fast, or does it cost a lot, initially, or like, to move people?
No, in my opinion, it doesn't cost a lot. Otherwise, this startup would never use us. We actually reduce their cost.
Okay.
So you know that, right? The whole point is, Bitcoin network is actually cheaper than using blockchain. Using banking infrastructure. You know that. You understand?
Yeah, sure, totally. Yeah.
Right,
oh yeah.
Right there is an easy example that banking, using blockchain as a banking solution, is cheaper than using your traditional solution, because in traditional solution you have 100 middlemen, and each of them are sucking some part of shared in when the fund flows. Same thing in the data industry. Like all the cloud providers have 100 different solutions in between to safeguard your data, but it can be done at a much cheaper cost if you use blockchain technology.
I guess it's cheaper, more effective. Okay, yeah, okay. No, I get it. No, I used to work at American Express in the financial space. So yeah, there's a lot of middlemen out there. So it's also interesting to learn in the cloud space and the data space. I don't know. There are a lot of middlemen too. So this is interesting to learn. Okay, so now I'm having a better idea. Hey, there are better solutions out there that doesn't require so many middlemen. All these vampires, all taking a little bit of the extracting the value. So okay now okay, I can see that now it kind of makes
so I guess any business that blockchain solution is more expensive, they don't understand blockchain. It's actually cheaper to use than your traditional system. But it's
fair enough.
Build. This is why we built the infrastructure, and now we are providing it as a solution for others to use it.
All right. Okay. No, this is good. Okay. No, this is good to know. I think what we just talked right here, I think has that message right there needs to. I believe that needs to get out to the regular space, because I know not many people, because I know a lot of people have this assumption that generally blockchains are kind of slow, that there's a lot of there's a huge learning curve, which I understand, but also I think there are some right incentives for people to move out of the old traditional space, whether it's banking or in the data space, to I guess blockchain, or I would like to call it the Web3 space. So just for easier connection. So yeah, that's good. No, thank you for sharing that. I think that's one of the points. I feel that you need to, I guess, repeat that more often. So
yeah, all of us need to repeat this.
Yeah. So no, because when it comes to banking and stuff, I barely use any banking and stuff. A lot of times I use Bitcoin Cash or whatever. So it's just easier. It's just an easier experience for me compared to using the. I know a lot of people are used to the banking system, but they just don't know any better. Actually, culturally, that's the truth. So I think maybe it's the same similar transition where the DID is going through. So yeah. Anyways, this is interesting stuff. Yeah.
For identity companies, it has always been challenging, because it deals with I told you are giving the access of your lock and key of your house to someone else. It's literally that. But this is where the problem is. These identity providers, they centralize the whole system, and you as a business trust on them so heavily that whatever they ask you, they suck money from you, because they are now the lock and key, right? They have the lock and the key for your whole business. Imagine that you don't need to trust on somebody. It can be now moved into a decentralized blockchain, and you trust on a blockchain as long as the network is running safe. Your data is safe.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, Vikram, I think we're about to come to an end. But before we go, is there any important information or any interesting information with regards to DID that people like us, whether our peers in the industry or the regular people, should know about? The importance of DID. Is this?
I don't say they should know about importance of DID, because DID is more of a technical term. But I always say the same, be mindful about your data, how you are interacting with a business when you are sharing your data, how can you minimize the data usage, sharing and resharing of data. Just be mindful about it and start talking about your data privacy.
Awesome. Nicely done, Vikram. Hey, Vikram, thank you for enlightening me and our upcoming audience here at the Cryptocosm. I really appreciate it. I think now I'm having a much clearer picture why some of the big players are now starting to get into DID. So yeah, no, thanks for bringing that clarification, talking about economics, culture, usage. I think this is really great info. So anyways, fam, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So Vikram, thank you for joining in. So we will catch you guys next time. You'll see more of Vikram here at Coffee Crypto, as well as with Atom Dubai. I'm hoping there'll be some more events happening, right?
Yes. In June, probably around June, we are planning another one.
Awesome. All right. Good. That's great to hear. So anyways, fam, we gotta go. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right. Oh, no. Oh, shoot.